Hi everyone, Elias with TurboDial. Today our instructions are going to be regarding configuring inbound numbers for enhanced inbound and hosted voice. So before you get started, please make sure you have enhanced inbound or hosted voice. Also make sure you're logged in as a primary or secondary account owner. So we're going to go over the first screen. So to get to that screen, you're going to want to click on the red pencil icon to the right of inbound and SMS while the inbound and SMS selector is set to the number you'd like to configure. Okay, so this is the first screen. Let's start with use as an SMS from ID. Leave this set to on if you want to send or receive SMSs to this phone number. Next, assigned users Infusionsoft email ID. So this is the user that you want to be the default call note owner for inbound calls. There are situations where the call note owner is assigned to a different user, such as when a call is answered in the soft phone by a different user, by the forward to contact owner feature, or if a different user claims a call after using assigned buttons. Check this box if you want this user to get all SMS-based email and alert notifications for this phone number. Optional label in selector. The optional label is what people see when picking a number from the inbound and SMS or caller ID selector in TurboDial. If you do not enter a label here, by default the phone number itself is used as the label. So let's take a look. I'll show you exactly where this appears. So this right here is the label. Okay, so let's go back to the screen one. Okay, so inbound call screen pops. So what an inbound call screen pop is a notification you get when you get an inbound call. So this is an example of an inbound call screen pop. So as far as inbound call screen pops go, send to these users. Enter the email addresses of the users you'd like to receive inbound call screen pops when someone calls this number. So here you can enter in an additional email address. These need to be email addresses associated to your TurboDial authorized users. Okay, so send to all. So checking this box overrides the send to these users settings and will send a screen pop alert notification to any logged in users. So if I click this, you can notice that I can no longer edit this field anymore. If I uncheck it, I'm able to edit it again. So let's talk about the rest of these settings on screen one. So record inbound calls to this number. Check this box if you want inbound calls automatically recorded. Call recordings are stored in the call recording custom field of each call note record created per call. However, you must have the call recording custom note field created before you can enable this setting. Restrict outbound use of this number. When checked, only permitted users will see this number in the inbound and SMS and caller ID selectors. So you're probably asking, what is a permitted user? So a permitted user is one that's assigned in the assigned user section that we already went over. It's users set to receive inbound call screen pops, which we went over. It's users that would be here. And lastly, they are users whose Infusionsoft ID email addresses are entered under the destination field of the second screen, which we will talk about in a little while. So enable time of day routing. If you check this box, that enables time of day routing for this number. And if you check it and click update and next, you'll see a screen different than the one that we're going to talk about. So to learn more about time of day routing, please refer to the guide on time of day routing. Delete this number from your account. If you check this box and click update and next, it's going to delete this number from your account. Lastly, let's talk about SMS conversations. So in TurboDial, there's a way to enable SMS conversations, but this is optional. You don't have to choose an SMS conversation for your number. And to learn more about SMS conversations, please refer to the user guide about SMS conversations. So some very important things that we should talk about regarding screen one is don't delete an inbound number until you've seriously thought about it. The reason for that is that any configuration data associated to that number is also going to be deleted when you delete it, and there's not going to be a way to recover that. Okay, so let's talk about the second screen. So we get to the second screen by clicking update and next on the first screen. Okay, so let's talk about what can go under the destination column. Entries under the destination column are referred to as forwarding destinations. Each forwarding destination can be to a soft phone or phone number. To see a list of default forwarding destinations, click on this double triangle icon and you will see default forwarding destinations. So these are going to be your TurboDial acquired inbound numbers, caller IDs, etc., authorized TurboDial users, so on and so forth. If you do not see a number you'd like to use by default as a forwarding destination, you can type in a forwarding destination here. You're of course going to want to precede it with country code and then enter the number for the forwarding destination. Okay, so optional name for screen pop alerts. So this is the label that's displayed on the inbound call alerts or the inbound call screen pop alerts, and is not necessarily the same as the label that we set on the first screen. So to see an example of the optional name for a screen pop alert, I'm going to click close and show you that here, this was an inbound call to the San Diego number, but the optional name for the screen pop alert was set to sales department. So that's where this comes in. Last we're going to talk about is the required backup forwarding number. This is the phone number that is called as a last resort in the event of network or system failures that makes your other forwarding destinations unreachable. It is recommended that you use the cell phone of the business owner or primary company point of contact as the backup forwarding number. So if you have hosted voice, you'll see an update and next button, which you'd want to click to save these settings. Okay, some very important points we ought to talk about on screen 2 is that we do not recommend using a landline VoIP number for a forwarding destination unless it's the only destination. So what that means is if you're going to have this forward, let's say that this was a VoIP number, if you're going to have it forward to a VoIP number, this should be the only number in the destination column. And the reason for that is that VoIP landline carriers often intercept a call and prevent other destinations from ringing because from a TurboDial perspective, we assume that the call got answered because of what the VoIP provider sent back to us. But technically this number could still be ringing. So again, the main issue with that is that if you had a lot of numbers here, this one would always answer first and then prevent the rest of these from ringing any longer, even if nobody technically answered this number. We do suggest not using TurboDial acquired inbound numbers as forwarding destinations, and the reason for that is that an inbound call note is created each time one of your TurboDial acquired numbers is called. So if your first number called is a TurboDial acquired number, a call note will be created, and if that number forwards to other TurboDial acquired numbers, additional call notes are going to be automatically created. However, we do recommend using user soft phones, cell phones, or non-VoIP landlines as forwarding destinations. Alright, so that's all we're going to talk about for configuring numbers for enhanced inbound and hosted voice. Happy dialing, everyone!